Deck the halls, it's a triple jump list. Fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to give crap gifts. Fa la 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 la. That's quite enough, I think. Bar humbug and all that. Indeed, it is once again that time of year where disorganised folks all around the world have a mass panic as they attempt to find holiday gifts for their loved ones. Unlike other YouTube channels who have probably come out with all kinds of gift guides for gamers by now, we here at Team TripleJump prefer to keep things a bit more cryptic. So instead of spelling out what you should buy, we're just going to tell you what you definitely shouldn't buy and leave you to work out the rest for yourself. I have every faith in at least 4 of you. Yes, it's the holiday season once again, so we've searched the toxic waste dump that is the internet to find 10 more awful items that you must absolutely avoid buying for that video game fan you know. I'm the mince pie crumb covered Ben from TripleJump, and here are another 10 terrible gifts for the gamer in your life. Number 10. Snack chopsticks. The unfortunate thing about gaming is the fact that the things you use to hold your controller, i.e. your hands, are the exact same things that are used to transport snacks from their packaging to your gaping maw, and if your snack of choice is something like nacho cheese Doritos, then you run the risk of getting bright orange flavoring all over your pristine white controller. Oh my god, I'm just picturing it in that horrible fluffy Sonic one, remember that? Awful. Fortunately, someone's come up with a solution to this problem. What? No, it's not washing your hands after you eat. What are we, the king? No, it's a pair of plastic chopsticks that attach to your fingers so you don't get the cheese dust on your DualSense. Now, before you go clicking add to cart on these bad boys, however, I want you to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and think just how ridiculous they are. Seriously, bits of plastic strapped to your hands so that you don't get your fingies all messy whilst playing the Nintendo? Utterly ridiculous. Oh, and if you're a person that already has these and uses them, I want you to find your nearest mirror and take a good long hard look at yourself in it. Number 9. Gaming glasses. According to Science Boffins TM, the blue and white light emitted by our phones, computer monitors, and TV screens is seriously screwing with our circadian rhythms, so if you find yourself struggling to get to sleep at night after a long Fortnite session, this might be why. What you could do to combat this problem is to take yourself away from screens about an hour before you settle down for bed, which is, incidentally, what a lot of healthcare professionals would recommend. We all know that's not going to happen though, but what alternative is there? Gaming glasses, of course! Indeed, if you have a gamer in your life that's struggling to get some shut-eye, then you could buy them a pair of blue light blocking gamer glasses. That's sure to be a good gift, right? Well, no, actually, as there's very little evidence that these glasses actually do anything to help with sleep or even eye strain for that matter, so what you'd actually be investing in is nothing more than a less than stylish facial accessory for your video game loving buddy. Perhaps consider a CD of whale songs to help them sleep instead. People still listen to CDs, right?
CD's nuts.
Guy. Number 8. Gaming chair. To be clear, we don't mean this kind of gaming chair. Those are incredibly useful for PC gamers, especially those like our writer whose back is crippled if she even thinks about sitting on a cheap office chair. I imagine if you bought one of those for a video game loving friend or family member, they'd be very, very grateful. No, we're talking about these monstrosities, which are, in our opinion at least, worse than a sofa or armchair in every conceivable way. Firstly, they force players to sit at ground level, which is fine if you're a heathen whose TV is on the floor, but for everyone civilized, it means you have to tilt your head up so you can see your game. This might not be a problem if those strange rocking chair type things had a proper headrest, but they don't. Look at this child! He's gonna have neck ache in no time. Furthermore, your legs end up in a weird position because the chair isn't high enough for you to comfortably plant your feet on the ground, nor is there anywhere to put your feet up. Plus, what are you supposed to do with any drinks or snacks? Put them on the floor like an animal, I suppose. Number 7. Weird peripherals. Gamers are always banging on about immersion, aren't they? Whether they're getting absorbed in the latest RPG or literally surrounding themselves with a game's world using a VR headset, players want nothing more than to feel like they're right in the action. If you don't have the money to spend on a game or a fancy VR headset though, you might think it's a good idea to spend what pennies you do have on a variety of doohickeys that can be strapped to a controller to make it feel more like a sword or a tennis racket. Spoiler alert, it is not a good idea. It tends to be the Nintendo Switch that attracts these abominations, and not only are they very bad for the planet, just being another bit of plastic that will inevitably end up in a landfill, but they're also a complete waste of space. They don't add anything to the actual game, they're a faff to get the controllers was in and out of, and whilst very small children might enjoy the novelty, most adults will just end up stowing them in a drawer, never to see the light of day again. We would have recommended a copy of The Last Hope for the Switch fan in your life, but sadly, it's been removed from the Nintendo eShop. Can't imagine why. Number 6. Anything with an "I'm gaming, do not disturb" slogan printed on it. We've all been there. You're at a crucial moment in a game that requires the utmost concentration and no interruptions, when suddenly some idiot, some buffoon, some absolute cretin walks into the room, stands in front of the screen and asks inane questions like, "Have you loaded the dishwasher?" and "What do you want for dinner?" or "Who are you and what are you doing in my house?" If you do know someone who is constantly having to deal with this problem, then for God's sake, do not buy them any item bearing a slogan along the lines of "I'm gaming, do not disturb." I know. It might be tempting. After all, there are a wide variety of items emblazoned with such a quip, from socks and t-shirts to door hangers and even neon signs, but I implore you, don't do it. For one, these items are generally tat, but worse than that is the fact that they're just so cringe and funny to absolutely no one older than about 12. Oh, and if anyone out there is thinking, "This might be great for my 11-year-old nephew," please let me know your address so I can pop round and spritz you with water. That's a terrible idea. Bad. That's a bad auntie. Number 5. A controller made out of chocolate. Chocolate! Yay! Video game controllers. Yay! A video game controller made out of chocolate? No. As gifts go, chocolate is relatively innocuous, and so you might think that a chunk of chalk shaped like your mate's favourite thing is quite a safe bet, but you would be wrong. Go sit in a corner and think about how wrong you are while I stand here and tell you why you're wrong. Go on. Yep, right in that corner. Well done. The problem with novelty chocolate items is twofold. A, owing to the fact that they are usually just a solid brick, they're incredibly difficult to eat without breaking your teeth and getting melted chocolate all over your hands. Plus, if they're not solid, then they're a complete con. And B, more often than not, they're made from inferior quality chocolate and as such taste like utter plops. If you want to buy someone a gift of chocolate, that's fine, but just leave it at that and don't try to combine it with one of their favourite pastimes, gaming or otherwise. Trust me, spend your hard-earned cash on a box of Lindor, they'll be much, much more grateful. Number 4. Gaming pillows, couch consoles, couch masters, etc. There's nothing better after a long, hard day at work than coming home, putting on your comfies and settling down on the sofa with a good video game and a few snacks. For literally decades, players have been happily gaming from their sofas and armchairs with nary a complaint, but apparently that's not the capitalist way. And now multiple companies are peddling ways to improve the sofa gaming experience. Do not fall for it! The first offender is the couch console, a £70 plastic box that holds controllers, remotes, drinks, and snacks. You know what else does that? A table. £8 from IKEA. Just saved you 62 quid there. You're welcome. If you know a PC gamer, you might be tempted to buy the Couch Master, an item that is, for all intents and purposes, a lap tray for a keyboard and mouse, and at £150, a bleeding expensive one at that. Perhaps the biggest con of the lot, however, is the gaming pillow, an item costing upwards of £50 that is designed for gamers to rest their tired little hands on. Alternatively, they could just plonk a cushion they already own on their lap and rest their hands on it, and you could spend 50 quid on a copy of Baldur's Gate 3 instead. Go on. Number 3. Gaming gloves. In the world of driving, if you want the world to know that 1. You're a super serious driver and B. A complete tool, you'll wear driving gloves whilst you're pootling about in your 20-year-old Mercedes C-Class. I suppose it follows then that if you're a gamer and you want the world to know just how serious and or how much of a dickhead you are, you'll wear gaming gloves while you're trying to find diamonds in Minecraft. The purpose of gaming gloves is to help players keep hold of the controller and prevent their gross hand sweat from interfering with their game. Probably not a bad idea for competitive gamers, i.e. those who compete in tournaments, not those who throw their toys out of the pram when they lose at Mario Kart. However, for everyone else, it just seems like overkill. What's worse is that a decent pair can set you back the best part of £75, which in today's economy could buy a brand new AAA title and leave you with enough change for snacks. So, in short, forget the gloves and get them a Steam gift card and a tin of Quality Street instead. Oh, seems like we are recommending gifts. You're welcome. Number 2. Books about gaming. Let's get one thing straight, shall we? We are gamers. If you cut us open, we bleed that special distilled water you have to put in liquid cooling systems in PCs. Actually, it's a real medical concern. Please can someone help? Because we're super cool gamers, we don't want to see any stinky old books when we're tearing the wrapping paper off our presents. Books are for nerds, and we're not nerds. we're super cool gamers. In all seriousness though, there are a number of books out there covering the history of video gaming, but unless your intended recipient has expressed an interest in delving into video gaming's roots, then it's likely that a gift of the illustrated history of 151 video games, a detailed guide to the most important games, is just going to end up gathering dust on a shelf. If your gaming pal or family member does like to read, you'd be better off just getting them a Waterstones or small bookshop gift card. Screw Amazon. That way they'll be able to choose whether they spend New Year curled up with a good book or exploring space in Starfield. I know which one I'd prefer for the record, and it's not the stinky old book. Number 1. The Lord of the Rings Gollum. The last time we did one of these lists, we told you that the absolute worst thing to buy a gamer for Christmas is video games, simply because there are so many ways to get it wrong. If you absolutely must treat the gamer in your life to a shiny new title for their Xbox Series, PS5, Switch, PC, or whatever though, then for the love of all that is holy, do not buy them the Lord of the Rings Gollum. Honestly, no present at all would be better than this steaming hot pile of garbage, and whilst it may not be the absolute worst game ever made, we still imagine that it had Jolkin, Rolkin, Tolkien rapidly revolving in his grave like a spinning top attached to a power drill. Technically inept, repetitive, and overall downright boring, the only thing worse than finding the Lord of the Rings Gollum in your stocking would be awakening on Christmas Day to discover that your dad had mistaken Santa for a burglar and beaten him to within an inch of his life. With that said though, such a scene would probably be less of a mess than the Lord of the Rings Gollum, and so might actually be preferable. Anyways, happy holidays, you precious lot, and if any brands are watching, we have absolutely no shame and will shill for your gaming chair and gaming gloves. Send money.